You're the founder of the Golden Bridge. What is Kundalini Yoga?
You have to do it to know it. You cannot know it up here.
Is the religion tied to Kundalini Yoga in any way?
Spirituality cannot be taught. It has to be caught. Foremost leader of our whole thoughts is sex.
Yogi Bhajan, a lot of controversy that came out.
I was with him 35 years. I never saw anything that people had said, and I was so close to him.
Is intuition linked to the feminine?
We're 16 times
For all of
more.
us. How about for men?
Forget it.
What does that mean? Thank you so much for taking the time. We finally get to sit down on camera.
In Mallorca.
In Mallorca. You were born Mary Mae Gibson in Illinois, 1942. 43. You're the founder of the Golden Bridge Yoga program.
My husband and I, 41 years we've been together.
41 years.
We did it together. I could never have done. I don't know how to use a computer. Now, how do you run a very big business without knowing how to use a computer? But my husband does really, really well.
And you've both studied under Yogi Bhajan.
Yes.
Which is the Sikh tradition.
It is in the Himalayas.
It is in
it's
the
the
Himalayas.
foothills. Because Kundalini Yoga is from Tibet and very northern India in the Himalayas. And they're right together. The borders touch. And that's where this ancient science, some say 40,000 years old, came.
So Yogi Bhajan was known for bringing Kundalini Yoga to the West.
1969.
1969. You met him in 1970.
Yes.
Right after that.
He came in the year of the Woodstock.
In the year of the Woodstock. And that's created tremendous waves in the US and across the world.
Changed the world forever.
What is Kundalini Yoga?
Where do I start? What do I say? You just have to taste it. You have to do it to know it. You cannot know it up here.
And is that yoga in general? Experiential, beyond the knowledge? It's about the experience of thyself and knowing thyself?
I would say yes.
Are you able to define what spirituality is for us?
Well, we use an expression. Spirituality cannot be taught. It has to be caught.
Caught?
Caught.
What
You
does
have to
that mean?
catch it. Catch it in your heart. You have to feel it. You have to experience it. Everyone has it in them. But so many people have been so shut down that the spirit is just shrunk. And Kundalini Yoga to me just opens that expansion of who you really are, which is spirit, which is soul. It's the same thing. It's called consciousness.
And that is beyond matter.
Way beyond. It's
Way
beyond the
beyond matter.
mind. It's beyond the limited, finite self, which is what most people live in until they get that touch. The touch can come through a near-death experience. A touch can come from so much pain you think you're going to die. A touch can come from a broken heart. A touch can come from abuse. It's awakened something inside of you that is dormant. The only way to come into consciousness is to awaken that. And it has to come in its own timing. And in the West, where people are looking for instant, a weekend of instant enlightenment, 10 steps to become enlightened, and on and on and on like that, it's Creator's timing. And sometimes you don't get it till your last breath, until your exhale. When you're in that state. And other times, with good mothers, you can stay awake your whole life and you never have to go to sleep. By the time a child is 7, they're usually asleep. What does that mean? They learn math, learn competition. They learn the most important thing is the intellect. The most important thing is to have a career, and on like that, which most of us did. But a wise mother raises her child in the forest. They don't go into school. They study Waldorf education. Do things that are close to nature so that they can stay natural. And it's happening more and more now when people are just throwing away the stupid educational system. Who cares when World War II started? Who cares who won a war? Who cares how many people died in a war? I mean, that's what we learned as an American, as a child. And you always hear it slanted. I can imagine what World War II was like from the Japanese child's point of view, the way they taught them, versus American or versus German. All of the truth it's relative to the circumstances. Truth is infinite. It always has been, always will be.
And when you're talking about something like Pearl Harbor, the American versus the Japanese experience,
absolutely.
What does that mean?
It means that history is just stupid to be repeated and not to be repeated again. To teach children, they lose the sight of how a butterfly becomes a butterfly, and how a cocoon, and how the leaves outdoors and the spring flowers. If you walk around here every day, you'll see new poppies coming up. You won't learn anything but nature.
Why is the connection to nature so important?
Because that's what we are. We're earth, air, water, fire, and ether. That's the composite of our physical form, but it's a composite of everything in the universe. And when we separate ourselves from it, from the intellect, look how many stupid people are medical doctors. Stupid people are scientists. Stupid people who are disconnected with self and come up with all these stupid, untruth ideas. And they have high IQs and they go to Harvard and they go to Cambridge. But so many are so stupid.
What does that mean in the non-IQ sense, in the non-mathematical, scientific memory? What does intelligence mean over there? Are you talking about intuition or connection?
Yeah, intuition and consciousness.
Intuition and consciousness.
Yeah. It's the insight into the unknown that you can plug into yourself and know your own truth. Not outside because somebody said 2 and 2 is 4. How about 2 and 2 is 5?
We're not talking about the mathematics over here. What you're talking about is knowing the truth and the essence of things beyond or without the analytical mind. Having them presented to you.
Yeah. You recognize the intellectual mind, but if the intellectual mind is not connected with the heart, then what's the point of anything?
Is that the seat of the intuition, the heart, or is it more the Manipura chakra?
To me, how I source my truth is through my third eye point, through my 6th chakra. But that 6th chakra will always connect to the 4th chakra, because the 6th chakra is giving us the insight and the journey we need to take, but it has to be connected to the heart. You can't have intuition without truth, and truth is from your heart. And you have a platform to live upon, and that's your 3rd chakra. The lower centers are necessary because you can't walk around just with a belly button up, right? So you need your legs, you need your reproductive organs, otherwise there'd be no more people. You need your elimination process, which is your 1st chakra. But most people live in the lower chakras, you know? And in Kundalini Yoga, we learn to honor the lower triangle, you say, but not to live in it, just to use it when we need it.
What does it mean, living in the lower chakras? How does that come up in life?
Addicted, a lot of addictions. Our sexual, that can be our foremost leader of our whole thoughts, is sex. I work with so many people, hundreds of people, that their life is all centered around the 2nd chakra. I mean, God, terrible stories.
Addiction?
I mean, I've been addicted, not to the sexual part, but I've been addicted to amphetamines. I've been addicted, mostly amphetamines.
Very long time ago.
When I was 16. And it went many years until I couldn't get the prescription filled again. And I didn't even know I was addicted. Because in the 60s, there was no words of addiction. You just did stuff. There wasn't this overdeveloped intellectual play of something's wrong with you. And then they started tagging, and then they started getting professions around what's wrong with people. And then you were taking your children to shrinks all the time. And then the downfall of the world is medication.
So there's a bodily imbalance. There's a need for something else. And I learned a lot of this from a good teacher of mine, Tommy Rosen.
Oh, Tommy's an expert. He's one of my best friends.
He talks about looking for love, belonging, safety, gratitude in the external. So he turned to drugs for that.
Yeah,
and that
so
yoga
many,
is the
thousands.
Yoga is the path of finding these things internally.
But the problem now is we were all doing that. I was taking LSD every day, smoking it. I never liked alcohol because it made me feel real dull and stupid. Where the other thing is heighten my senses. Nowadays, the epidemic is not that, it's the pharmaceuticals. Coming from you have anxiety, you can't sleep, your children are ADD, ADHD, whatever it is, they put a label on you. And where does that label go to? A pharmaceutical. It's a nasty business that I have very little respect because I feel that most of them don't have inner wisdom, inner knowingness to help people to go through what they have to go through to get to spirit. Instead, I'll stop your suffering. Here, take this pill. And then what happens? They take all those druggy pills for the head and they get addicted to them. And then they say, now I have a stomach ache. Then they give you stomach medicine. Now I'm constipated. They give you, now I can't sleep. And before you know it, you're on 6 to 8 meds that you don't need any of them.
Well, the big thing is ADHD medication, right? Adderall and whatnot. And you're a mother yourself. Isn't it normal for kids to not be able to sit in a chair for 6 hours a day?
And yes, they cannot sit because they're not supposed to sit.
For
That's
6
why
hours.
I
was one of those kids. I mean, I had a special desk at the principal's office because I would get kicked out of class and I needed a place to sit. So I would go sit in the principal's office 3-4 times a week.
I very seldom get rageful, except when I see what adults do to children.
But I did have some amazing teachers as well.
Yeah.
And one of them looked at me and he said, if you need to stand up, you can go to the back of the class and stand up.
But my feeling is, like they do in Tulum, there's so many schools like the Green School, and there's also a place in Holland, I believe, there's no buildings. The children are outdoors all day, even in the winter. They don't have to go in a classroom and sit there. They can sit on a stump or they can do a garden. That's it for the future. Because what they're doing in the classrooms, I had to sit because it was so strict. But nowadays, and then they feed them a lot of sugar and they don't exercise and their brains go loopy and kids go loopy.
So what do you do with a child to get them to focus on specific tasks that need to be done? I mean, a child could be growing up in nature and playing outdoors all day and having that connection, which is wonderful. But they still need to be able to sit and read a book and learn that skill.
They can read a book and sitting in the woods. Why do they have to sit in first of all, a chair like that? A child will gravitate towards wanting to read if they're supposed to read. A child will gravitate towards wanting to learn what they want to learn. What do adults think they're doing? What do they want these kids to become?
So you're talking about allowing somebody to develop their natural interest and then furnishing them with the material.
Absolutely.
To help them flourish.
I feel that many are returning, though, to barefoot on the grass, to watching nature.
I wanted to talk a little about Yogi Bhajan, incredible influence that he's had, a lot of controversy that came out. It was after his death.
Yes.
While he was alive,
yeah.
A lot of people were trying to get after him. Allegations of sexual abuse specifically. A lot of videos out there when I look him up talking about his money and how successful he was, which I find to be a funny thing. I wanted to touch on these two aspects. One, in your experience, how was your experience with this person on the abusive side? Was that the case?
I have been doing this 54 years. I was with him 35 years, many times living in his household, many times traveling. I never saw anything but truth. I never saw anything that people had said, and I was so close to him. I can only speak for myself. As far as the money, he left with $1 in his pocket. Where did the money go to? Yogi tea, the different businesses, the different people, the scholarships to universities, the organizations. He didn't have anything.
And what if he did? Does a spiritual teacher or guru or yogi need to be broke and poor?
No. He said, let your heavens match your earth. Because the more wealth that we have, the more we can give away. We have so many nonprofits that my family gives money. And if we didn't have any money, we couldn't give any money. So the more you have, the more opportunity you can give and help other people. So no, the day of being a pauper and having a begging bowl, not for me.
Clearly, you have good taste, good fashion, you travel well, and you're teaching and you're giving a lot to the world.
And we give a lot of money.
This was something I was confused about as well when I went to India and I met several different teachers. I mean, they were from all kind of economic classes.
Yeah.
And nobody was ashamed to show what they had or what their background was. Everybody was quite comfortable regardless of what was in the bank. It's not holy or unholy to have money.
It's just a choice. It's just energy. And it doesn't make you better or worse or more holy or not holy. It's like a destiny. It's like I started out with nothing when I was 26. And we have come to have some wealth, but we know it's not ours. We know it comes to us to go. Comes to us to go.
No attachment to what you're not going to leave this earth with.
Yeah, because you know that. You can't take it with you.
Your headgear. Can you tell me about what you're wearing? Are you a Sikh? Is that a religion?
Yes. Yeah, it's a 500-year-old faith.
And what is the relationship with yoga? Did you convert into becoming a Sikh through Yogi Bhajan? Was that part of the yoga as well?
Yeah. When I was 26, he brought the teachings. Part of the teachings was Kundalini Yoga. Many Sikhs from India, the 5th largest world religion, they don't do yoga. He brought the ancient teachings, offered them to us. They changed our lives and brought us into consciousness. So I loved it from the beginning.
Is the religion tied to Kundalini Yoga in any way? Somebody's looking to learn about Kundalini Yoga, practice Kundalini Yoga.
Yeah, they can bring in the faith or they can not. That's the beauty of this. You can take whatever you like. I just happened to take the faith in because it must have been my destiny 54 years ago. But we have hundreds of students all over the world that they have nothing to do with the faith. It's such a wonderful path because you don't have to take every single thing. You take what works for you, what helps you. And sometimes it's forever changing, and then sometimes people do it and then they don't want to do it anymore, and then they go, and it's like, God bless you.
As taught, at least in the West and in India, it's agnostic of religion. It's something that could be studied apart from religion.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And so taking the Sikh path was a decision that came from there, but wasn't necessarily part of the yogic path for you.
Absolutely.
And the relationship between the Himalayan tradition and the Sikh tradition, this is something that I'm confused about. And I even had the geography wrong.
The Sikh faith came 500 years ago, plus maybe 550, from a simple man called Nanak.
Okay.
Nanak. He then became Guru Nanak, teacher Nanak. He traveled 44 years by foot all over India, Tibet, China. They even said he went to Italy. He just walked. He walked with Mardana, who was a mandolin player, and he was a Muslim. And Nanak had been raised as not a Sikh, because there was no Sikh then, as a Hindu. And at that time, in the 1400s, it was dangerous for a Muslim and a Hindu to walk together because all those religious differences. But they walked, and at the end of the day, they just sang praises of God. They never even talked. And when they get to a village, maybe in Tibet or in Europe or wherever they were walking, people knew about them. And they would provide them with simple sleeping and food. And that's what they did for 44 years. I don't believe that Nanak ever had the vision of what the faith would gather. But within 500 years, it's become the 5th largest world faith. And if you ever get a chance to go to the Golden Temple in India, you'll be blown away. They feed maybe 300,000 people a day there.
Oh.
Without any cost, beautiful food. They open the doors at 1:30 in the morning, and they chant and sing constantly until the doors close, like at midnight. And then they wash the floors with milk and make it so pure that when the doors open again at 2:30, it's so big and so pure and so clean. And people come, thousands of people from all over the world. That's what it unfolded to be. It's like something you can't even believe until you've gone there.
Yeah. There's so many different beautiful traditions out there, very old ones.
Well, how it started was this way. There was a man who had leprosy, and he was missing a lot of limbs. They fell in love, he and this woman in India. But the woman was from a very high caste system. The family told her that she'd be out of all money and everything if she still was with this man. But they had a love. She had to carry him on her shoulder in a basket because he was missing so many parts. So they walked, and every night they had to beg for food. They got to, we call it the Peace Lagoon. It was a lake at the time in Amritsar in the Punjab in India. She left him, as she always did, in a basket, and she went into the market to try to get food for them. The man is in the basket, and he sees a blackbird coming up and going down. He came up a pure swan.
Was it a crow turning into a swan?
Yeah. So the man, waiting for the wife, tipped his basket over and went in to the Peace Lagoon, to the lake. And he came up as a whole man. And she came back and she said, "Where's my husband? Who took my husband? She was very, very upset. And he says, no, I am your husband. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. He kept one finger out of the water that was crippled, that had leprosy. He said, "Yes, I am here." That's how the whole Sikh faith started.
What a beautiful story. The endless love, dedication, and compassion that comes from a wife like that.
Yeah.
You're teaching at a retreat over here in Mallorca. It's women's only.
Yeah.
What is it? What is a woman? What is it to be a woman?
We say it's a wow. Man, we're wows. We are the ones. To put it very shortly, we are the ones the world has been waiting for. And we need to rise to the occasion of who we are and lead the world into liberation, into love. Men do not have the ability to do it. And we have kept ourselves so teeny-weeny and victimized. The Me Too project, do you know the Me Too?
Mm-hmm. Very well, yes.
It's so full of it because we initiated as women, pointing our fingers at men. Well, we need to rise to the occasion and come to be who we are. And we are so powerful. We're no longer victims. We can bring the whole world to liberation. But we first have to do it inside ourselves by not being victims. Right now, we got a ways to go. And that's why I keep teaching, to help women to take their rightful place. Today we did a whole Kriya for 2.5 hours to release all our fear. Because if you don't have fear, you don't have anger. And you can walk tall. And you don't have to be angry anymore at men. You can understand their limitations. Because they're very limited. The brains
we all have our limitations and we all have our strengths, correct?
Yeah, but women have 16 times more intuition than men.
And that's what I would love to get to with the whole feminist movement and with Me Too and with everything.
The feminist movement is based on anger. Anger is based on fear. So we can lift the fear out of a woman so she can come to be herself.
And we're seeing a lot more women in management positions. They're being forced as quotas, let's say on board positions. And I have the sense that it's not really a numbers game of having X number percentage of women on this committee or that committee or this board. It's about having women that are coming in with a certain sense that you speak to that is not repressed as well. And that is really what is needed to bring in that femininity. And it's not about how many women are sitting there, but it's about the voices of the women being genuine and actually being taken into account when it comes to the decision making.
But the woman has to develop herself to live through with her head and her heart. Because oftentimes we've been in so many movements, and then women end up acting like men.
That's precisely what I'm speaking
and
to.
And it never works.
Because we have another man sitting there mentally, right?
Yeah,
taking the same decisions.
Yeah. You lose your intuition and you lose your connection to your heart.
So why does that happen? In so many cultures, they talk about the mother being the spiritual teacher, right, of the household.
She is.
How does that get lost? Is that through repression? Is that coming from men?
It comes from, it's the evolution of humanity. It comes because we kind of get swallowed with our fear, and then fear turns into anger. It's just old conditioning. And that kind of thinking is so much more magnetic pull than pure light. It's something we just have to keep working and developing.
So it's all of us.
Yeah.
Is intuition linked to the feminine?
We're 16 times
for all
more.
of us. How about for men?
Forget it.
What does that mean?
Well, we're 16 times more intuitive than you are, because that's the nature of how the brain works. So the best thing men could do is just do what women say. Follow women, because we have the knowledge. You have the intellect, but you don't have the heart. I'm not saying all of you don't, and I think you probably do a lot, otherwise you wouldn't be doing this work. But the mass majority, they don't. Otherwise they'd be having babies.
But these things can be enlivened in people, just as they can be suppressed.
Yeah, but our job as a woman is to lift them up so they remember who they are. But so many of us are so full of fear and rage and all this stuff that we tend to put men down.
So really what you're talking about, what should be at the core of the feminist movement in terms of a rebirth or a revitalization for a new age, is coming from the heart, the intuition, the strength that comes from that, which also men should be learning from.
Yeah, but
Correct.
We have to lead, because the men just don't. We have to lead them to that, through kindness, through love, through understanding of our power and how we can change them without even saying anything.
Do you see us going through this change, and do you see men going through this change today?
Yeah, I know my own husband does. Yeah, but they have to be led. That's the way I feel. They have to be led because their brains don't operate correctly, you might say. They've been conditioned to fight, to flight, to be intellectual, to win, to compete. Everything that old conditioning has trained men will be men, you know.
So the feminine and the masculine, there's more and more that I'm being exposed to with regards to goddess. And this is kind of a trending term these days, goddess energy.
Well, some of that can go
overboard. What is God and goddess?
Too. I'd like to just stay with the neutral mind. And we are moon, we are sun, and that's the science. We're left and right brain. But some women get real carried away with this goddess thing. And I think there's a little bit of underneath it. There's a little bit of repression, a little bit of anger with men. That's how I've felt about it. See, this is where everything gets kind of intellectual for me, and I can't go too deep about it because it's so with words. I just like to hug people. Men, women. Just break down the barriers. What we say when we teach, after we tune in, then we silently say to ourselves, I'm not a man, I'm not a woman, I'm not myself, I'm a teacher. I like to take the polarization out a lot. You know, you're a man, you're a woman, you're the da-da-da-da-da-da. I think, what if we just could see all of us as oneness? Because then you start doing nationality, do color, do sexual preference, do all of this, and then we separate.
Yogi Bhajan spoke about something. I listened to one of his lectures, and one of them was about intuitive speaking. Were you there for that?
Probably. I've been to hundreds of his lectures and heard hundreds. What did he say?
It's hard to summarize because he talks for so long as well.
Yeah.
Right? And what I really wanted to do was see if you were able to put this into words at all, what intuitive speaking is, especially that we're talking about coming from the heart.
Okay, it's easy. When you come from your your intuitive place, you don't have to think about what you're going to say, because you know you're only going to speak truth. And you don't have to make anything up or say, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. You don't have to write speeches. You just say it, and it's done, because that's your truth. It's pretty easy, actually.
It's a nice thing to touch on, because so many of us do think about what we're going to say. And I'm one of those people. And coming from the heart has been something that I've had to learn and work kind of really hard at, going away from the mind. And there's always a balance over there. So, and I know that you're somebody who is on the experiential side. You're not so much into explaining things with words, but showing people and having them experience that themselves. So thank you for touching on that. There's something that I want to touch on, and that is age. You know, you're 82 years old, but you're also full of energy, and you're very light, and you're very playful. And I wanted to ask you what maturity is.
What does maturity mean to
Yes.
you? What's your definition of maturity?
It has changed with time. More recently, I'm understanding, or I get the sense that it's an expansion of your awareness, of your consciousness, that the more you are aware of, and the more that you can act in line with that, with your awareness, the information that's coming through that, the more mature you are, and that kind of is regardless of age.
I don't like that word mature. Ugh. You know, I love the expression of Jesus. Only as a child shall you enter the kingdom of heaven.
What does that mean?
What does a child do? They live for the moment. They live spontaneously. They're excited about life. Everything's brand new to them. And I think I've always kind of been that way. Excited to do so many things. Never being bored. I never thought of myself as mature. That's so boring. You know, I just like to be around for the moment. And that's why I love teaching this radiant power. I don't know what I'm going to teach. I've got my format, but I don't know what I'm going to talk about. But I look out at everybody and they tell me what to say. I taught at International Yoga Festival. I didn't know, but I just started.
You've taught so many people in so many places, and you're known in Hollywood for also being a teacher to celebrities.
That was years ago, and that was really...
Madonna, Courtney Love, David Duchovny as well.
Yeah, well, that was the olden days. I don't like talking about the past. It's like so boring.
Okay.
I love all those people. I acknowledge all those people. I was grateful I taught all those people. But that seems like so long ago, and I have fond memories, but I don't tell stories about them.
Great. You were recently in Dubai before going to Tulum.
Yeah.
And you taught, was this your first time in the Middle East?
Yeah, it was fun.
How was it being in the Middle East, and how was it being in Dubai?
Well, it was weird because we were flying in and it looked flat and cracked. The land looked like where Jesus walked. I thought I was on another planet. But the host and the owners of the yoga center were so nice and so giving. I was enamored by the energy there. It was like brand new for us. And we've been to many countries, from China to Russia, but I'd never been there. And it was very tripped out. I don't know. I can't say, I have no words for it, but I'm looking forward to going back.
Beautiful. I mean, Dubai is now an international city.
Yeah.
It's a tourism and business hub within the Middle East,
Yeah.
doing very well. And it's also opened up its doors, one of the first countries in the region, to Israeli tourism, in addition to the diplomatic relationships and trade. While you were in Dubai, you're there in the midst of the ongoing war, Palestine, Israel, and Gaza.
Yeah.
Did any of this come up when you were teaching over there?
No.
No?
None of it came up.
Anybody come to you for advice on the topic, or any advice that you can give to people on either side that's
I think
suffering
we
from
heard
this?
sad stories. You know, all I can do is just give them a meditation or have them pray or just keep going. But it's just too complicated. The whole world is so complicated, and everybody's got the stories and the rights, the wrongs, the goods, the bads, from Gaza to Israel to Russia. It just goes on and on. The divisions are like crack, 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 crack. So all I can do is rise above them and every morning pray.
How can we help people move past that and move into healing?
Through spiritual practice. The only way. They have to catch it. They have to get the blessings of knowing, and then it starts shedding its layers. It's God's grace. That's all I can say. And I don't know if it will get healed while I'm on this planet or not. We just do our best every day.
People on both sides are turning to religion and using religion.
Yeah.
And so there are people on both sides are praying as well. So we're talking about spirituality. What's missing in that formula?
Just time. You have to trust that time will unfold, and to continue to pray, to laugh, to dance, to hug. That's all I know.
That's beautiful, blissful advice.
Yeah, because I just don't know anything. Every day I realize how much I don't know, and all I can do is bow my head and say thank you for giving me this day, and whatever I can do to help, tell me.
Thank you for your time with us over here, Gurmukh. You've been so generous. So many people look up to you. You've taught generations of women across the world. And a lot of my friends personally are looking forward to this interview. Can you tell us more about what you have coming up and what you'd like to share and where we can find that information?
Sure. Go to goldenbridgeyoga.com or Gurmukh on the Road. Yeah, I just go everywhere. You know, I go to Dubai, Switzerland, Paris, London, and then we go back to Tulum. We go to New Mexico for 2 months. So we are on the go. You can find everything that you like to do to join us on our website. We have teachers training in October, one time a year. We have this beautiful land above Rishikesh where you would come for International Yoga Festival. And that's a highlight, to teach people 23 days so that they can go out and be a Kundalini Yoga teacher. Because Yogi Bhajan would say, you must become far greater than anybody that's a student, because that's your duty this lifetime. So don't get caught up in yourself, and don't think it's all about you. We learn to not say my students. They're not my students. They're the students of the teachings of the truth. And so you keep on layering the ego and not taking any credit for yourself, because that's so boring. And I don't want to be bored. Sat now, thank you.
You never are. Thank you so much.